but I always like to try and keep you abreast to what we're doing in our agency. You know, the Blueprint Training is an amazing platform. Platinum's even better, but something that is always a challenge is keeping you abreast with everything that we're doing and everything that we're seeing when it comes to clients, what's working, strategies, and something that has been a thorn in our side for as long as I've been doing SEO is link building, specifically when it comes to clients. When you're doing it for yourself, it's not overly complicated, right? It's really just a matter of finding some websites that are relevant, sending them a pitch, and then following up and trying to get links placed live. There's a whole bunch of tactics that we can do for that. What's up, Joshua? Glad you're here. And something that again is always been kind of a kink in our agency's growth cycle is how do we do this at scale, right? Again, when you're doing it for one website, it's not overly difficult. It's really just a matter of following a pretty basic process of finding and contacting websites. But we're talking about doing this across a portfolio of dozens, hundreds of clients. It gets really challenging. So within the Blueprint, we actually moved to a model with our agency too, where we were just using link vendors. And that's, again, what I still recommend to people, just because trying to do outreach internally is building a business unit on top of your existing business unit. There's so much that goes into it. It's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly challenging. It's a tremendous amount of work. So we've really recommended that folks use vendors, either freelancers, contractors, whatever, who can just take the link building off your plate. You pay them a fee. You take a margin on top of that for a client. But again, when we really look at the results of this, those companies struggle with outreach too and getting the links. And a lot of times they end up just being either guest posts or lower quality, like high quality PBN links, I should say. And for us here at our agency, and just when it comes to business, my principle is always, always, always doing what's best for the client. 100% of the time. Whenever we want to launch something new, whenever we're looking and evaluating our strategies, I'm always asking, is this what's best for the client? It's really the most important thing if you're in client services. Also the most important thing if you want to raise your prices and continuously working with better clients, we got to be doing what's best for the client. And over the past few months, we've been looking at the links that we've been getting from our outreach partners, and they're okay. They're okay. But for me, okay is not good enough. It's not good enough for my business. It's not good enough for my clients. And hopefully you're here because it's not good enough for you as well. So we have been looking really, really hard at ways that we can remove ourselves from link building completely. This is part of a larger discussion about us actually moving out of SEO as a service and moving into more of a B2B growth service, because we only work with B2B clients now. But again, how do we deal with link building at scale for all these different types of clients? And basically what we've come up with is we are all the clients that we're doing links for now, we're just kind of letting those expire this month, and then we're going back to them with a new offer. And that offer is to train them on how to do link building internally. So like I said, the first thing I talked about here was link building isn't overly difficult if you're doing it for your website, especially if you've got a process and if you know how to do it. It's really just a matter of understanding the type of links that are available to you, making a list of them, and then sending them the right pitch, and again, following up to make sure that link goes live. So, excuse me. So what we've decided to do is completely remove link building as a done for you service, and move to a complete coaching and consulting model. So what that looks like for us is, as an agency, one of the things that we require if you want to partner with us is you have to have a writer, either a contractor or on staff. We cannot partner with you. We can't run our service if you don't have somebody to write content. We don't write content for clients. We never have. We never will. It's a major pain. It's not the type of business that we want to be in for a lot of reasons. So one of the things that we talk about during our sales process is the need for somebody to execute and write content for the clients, because we're constantly making recommendations for landing pages, for blog content, for all types of stuff. And again, we require you to have a writer to do so. So what we've done is we've taken a look at that, and we've looked at the economics of link building. We looked at how much they're paying us in terms of what they're getting versus, paying another company and what they'd be getting. And then looking at, if they were to bring this in-house, first of all, what does the economics of that look like? And second of all, what do the results look like? So we've completely now moved to a model where we are training their writer to do the outreach for them again, right? So if that writer is already writing the content, they're already familiar with it, it's really just a few extra steps for them to send some outreach emails to either promote that content or just kind of promote the website in general. So we've basically taken what's inside the Blueprint training in terms of doing link building internally. And again, because we're only working with one type of client, which is B2B, lead generation based websites, again, this is why positioning is so important. This is why we spend so much time in the Blueprint training and Blueprint Platinum coaching people on positioning, because if you're only working with one type of client, the process becomes a lot easier to do this. So when it comes to B2B websites, we know the general link types that are available. guest posts, and I mean high quality guest posts. So when I say guest post, I mean like if you're in the SEO space, like search engine journal Moz, not random kind of like, hey, yeah, we'll take a guest post and you pay for a link. We're not interested in those. High quality, high authority guest posts, to the point where those links need to drive traffic. That's number one. That's a really good opportunity. Another one is resource pages, right? So best of articles are another really good opportunity. And then the final one is podcasts, right? There's tons of podcasts. And if, again, you have somebody on the other side of the coin, on the client side, who can go on podcasts, it's not only a great PR exposure experience, but it's also probably one of the best links that you can get. So with these three types of links, we now have our targets quite set, and we're now able to build a process around those types of links and then coach the client on how to do that. And again, excuse me, my wife's calling me. One of the biggest objections that you'll get in that scenario is, I don't have the time, I don't know how to do it. So that's why, again, we're already hedging by saying we don't need to. We're going to take your writer and we're going to train them on how to be an outreach and link building specialist. So again, when we look at the economics and the cost of that, the economics of paying a writer full time is going to be anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 per month. That's to write content, and then also if you have them full time, to then squeeze some 5 to 10 hours a week out of them to send outreach emails. So working with them, and again, when we're talking about us charging per link at the agency now, we charge anywhere around $400 per link. So 10 links is going to cost you $4,000 for us to do it, and the quality of those links, if I'm being honest, is probably going to be somewhere in the mid tier, because we're just using vendors. We're not doing true outreach. However, if we were to push that back onto the writer, we can then transfer that cost into hiring that writer if you don't have one, right? That $4K that you're paying for links. So then you can get content writing done, and then you can also get outreach done off the back of that. So this is the process that we're moving to. Basically what we're charging right now is we're charging $3,000 as an upfront strategy fee to build the process for you, which is already done, and then $1,500 a month to continuously work and coach with that person until you feel like they're up to speed and really they're able to supplant the links that we were providing and getting the links for you. So that's the process. I want to open it up for questions and just kind of discussion and comment. I don't know if you guys are still with me here. If my thing is frozen, drop me some comments so I know this thing is still live. Hot mic. And let's talk about link building. Let's talk about strategy. Let's talk about looking at what you're already doing and providing a better service for clients. Again, this is something that it's just a core of who we are and who you should be, and how all business owners really should be, is always optimizing what's best for the client, and then rolling out service offerings. So again, when we go back to understanding what's best for the client, it's a very simple scenario and proposition when we're going through the sales process to basically be like, look, number one, you're going to get the best type of links possible. Number two, you're actually going to save money on it. Number three, you're going to own this process and IP and equity internally, and you're never going to have to rely on an outside agency for help when it comes to link again. So this is the model, again, that we're moving to. What's up, Caleb? Caleb's our salesperson over at Weber, so he can probably even jump in and talk a lot about this too. In one of the reasons why we've moved to this model so aggressively is because during our sales process, we have been kind of just testing these conversations with prospects. A lot of times as agencies, I think we get stuck thinking we know what's best, and we make assumptions on behalf of the prospect or behalf of the client, without actually having that conversation with them. So by just kind of changing our offers on sales calls, in presentations of the options, we've been getting tremendous amount of positive feedback from prospects, again, qualified prospects, to do this type of model. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, I work with small businesses, this isn't really an option for me. And that might be the case. But again, we started working with small businesses too, and part of your agency growth plan, and this is just my opinion, should be constantly up-leveling, constantly moving up the value chain, constantly moving up the budget chain. And a lot of that is just targeting companies who have somebody internally, be it a marketing manager, or can afford to pay somebody like a writer or a marketing person that you can then work with and train. Again, looking at a small business budget, if they're paying you that amount for links on a monthly basis, there's no reason why that budget can't be replaced by doing something that's better for them. So looking at the budget that they're currently spending on links and then replacing that potentially with a writer who, again, they can get content written from out of the budget as well, but then also having an outreach person. And it's not just a link building person. I think this is a key distinction too, is that when we're talking about this, we're not just talking about links. Again, we're talking about what's best for the client. If we're really going to do what's best for the client when it comes to outreach, we want to do PR style outreach. So that's where podcasts come into play, right? Where we're able to then present it to them saying, we're not just doing this for like guest posts or at the same time. But you go to them and you say, do you not agree that being on a podcast is good for your business? Yeah, of course. Great. It's getting us more exposure. It's building a deeper relationship with folks, the whole nine, right? So again, really digging into the economics of what they're currently spending, whether they're a small business or not, and being able to supplant that and replace it with something that's a better offer for them. So again, keep the questions coming in. Chris asked, is the coaching going to be done by showing the step-by-step steps? I'm dyslexic. Showing the step by steps, or how to use link building service. No, we're getting rid of link building services completely. Chris, for context, again, the quality of the links that you get when you're working, and this is not a knock on vendors, because I know that they're doing everything that they can, and I'm not going to name names in terms of vendors because they've done a great job for us up until now, but just in terms of where our business is and where we want to go, I don't want to be chasing $250 links anymore. I want to be chasing $250,000 contracts, right? And if you want to land a $250,000 contract, is using an outreach vendor for links, what's best? Do you think that's really going to land them? The answer is 100% always no. So Chris, we're going to be giving them essentially what you see within the Blueprint training for, like, hey, here's how to strategize guest posts, here's how to find guest posts, here's how to qualify them, here's how to build a prospecting list, here's the templated pitches that you can send, here's how to alter them, here's how to write the guest. But we're going to be literally teaching them the whole process and then coaching them step by step the whole way. So that way they've kind of got us as a security blanket to fall back on. And this also removes that conversation from the business owner who's like, I don't have time to do this. Well, it's like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to replace the budget and we're going to hire somebody, and then we are going to train them, so you don't have to worry about it. All you have to worry about, business owner, is the fact that you're still going to be using links, but they're going to be 100 times better, and it's going to save you a ton of money in the long run, and you're also going to get better results from it. So again, understanding kind of the whole process in terms of the economics of it too, and always, again, focusing on what's best for the client, and then rolling that back out as a coaching and consulting program, a strategy program, as opposed to a completely done for you service, is where we're moving. So Michael just asked me a question too. Michael said, I missed the first part. So you are having clients do their own outreach for link building? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, just for context, this is something that has been a thorn in every agency side, I think, since the dawn of SEO, and since Google really rolled out Penguin, when you realize that you actually need good links in order to rank. We've always been kind of figuring out how is the best way that we can game the system, if you will, right? In terms of how can we get the clients the results that they need without spending an arm and a leg or having to do outreach. Again, doing outreach for one website is not bad, but doing outreach for 10, 20, 100 websites, it's really difficult to do and still do SEO strategy very well, right? There's tons of link building agencies that do it very well, but they're going to charge you accordingly because of the amount of labor that of anything that's attached to a cost per action, right? A cost per link, a cost per piece of content. When it comes to selling links to clients, they are always going to be looking at the market value of that link and how they can get it cheaper. So you're capped at how much you can actually charge for that type of link. We don't want to be in that business. We want to be in the strategy, the coaching, the consulting business, where for a couple hours of our time, we're able to collect the same amount of revenue by not really doing any work, just teaching them exactly what we know. So Michael, to answer your question, we're going to be teaching them to do it. And again, we will be helping them to get the right person in place by moving money around in order to hire that person. So the budget that they would be spending with us on links, we'll push that into a writer who we can then train to do outreach for them on their behalf and get not only more links, but much better links. And then again, also bring this process in-house, and we will be there on a monthly retainer basis as long as they need to coach them and train them to make sure that they know what's going on. Chris asked, in training the writers, will the education be advanced, such as going for link acres? Absolutely. Everything. Right. Again, this is the beauty of the coaching consulting model, is that the onus is off of us in terms of the results per se, and we can give them the best case scenario, and we can work with them on the best case scenario. Link building is not hard. Link building conceptually is even easier, right? It's not hard. Hey, find a website, send them an email, ask to get featured. That's the core of what we're trying to do here, right? It's the nuances where the money is being made, right? The process. How do I build a project? How do I build a calendar to do this consistently? How can I dedicate the time to do this consistently? How can I make sure that, again, the anchor text is right? These are the nuances where the coaching and the consulting really comes into play, because this is where we can continuously just add more and more value to the person. So first we focus on the process, the understanding, building that out for them end to end, getting them a schedule in place, a project plan, a calendar, and again, making sure that they're able to leverage their time properly in order to get this done. And then after that, that's where the coaching comes into play, where every 2 weeks, if you will, or however long they want to talk, however much they want to talk to us, we'll literally look at their outreach campaigns and we'll go through just like almost like a professor or a teacher would or a tutor would, right? If you want to think of it that way, and walk them through what the best, how to continuously, sorry, I had Slack over here that broke my attention, how to continuously make that even better. So going into things like anchor text, going into things like reviewing pitches and continuously writing better pitches, continuously prospecting for better websites, how to spin different keywords to find different websites, how to use Twitter, how to use Google, how to use all these different things. These are the nuances that we can continuously add on. Again, removing the onus from us having to do, because imagine having to do all this, not only for one client, but all these clients. It's exhausting. But instead, we can use one person who's dedicated to outreach training, because it's not that hard, to coach that. So we only need one person internally to do the work of what we would need 100 people for before. So not only are we, again, doing less work, not only are we doing what's best for the client, getting them better results, but we're also increasing our margins without doing more work, right? That's the key here, is that we're actually doing less work and we're still improving the quality of campaign for the client. Charlene asked, can you go back over the different content types again? I caught high quality guest posts and podcasts. So Charlene, for context, we only do B2B, right? So I'm just speaking from experience for what we're doing for Webrus. It would be different if you're working with local clients. The key here is you as the expert need to be able to identify what the link opportunities that are best for the type of client that you're working with. Again, why positioning is so important, because if you're telling me that you're working with a dentist and an attorney and then an e-commerce store and then I don't know, an affiliate website, I'm going to tell you that this isn't going to work, because your process at your agency is already broken. You need to have a specific avatar dialed in order, if you want to get past 1 million, even 10 million for your agency anyway. So once you have that dialed in, then it's just a matter of being like, okay, if I only work with dentists, what are the best link types possible, imaginable for dentists? Again, so like, I don't know, like I don't work with dentists, so I don't know the answer to this, but for us, for B2B clients, it was high authority guest posts. So again, thinking Moz as opposed to, just a random website, like top quality guest posts that are not just going to drive link value, but they're also going to drive traffic value. It's also going to be something that maybe that client can put on their website as being featured there, right? So again, we're adding more and more value to the client, aside from just taking the onus off that link, which gives us more value propositions to sell to them. So if they are hesitant and resistant to it, we can be like, well, hey, look, you can either go pay a link building agency to build you links that they're just paying for, or we can get you better links for about the same cost or less, depending on what the economics come in at. And oh, by the way, these are links that you're going to be able to stake your name on. You're going to be proud of. You can put that logo on your website. You're going to get traffic from. You're probably going to get customers from as well, because we're bidding you on real relevant websites that have traffic they're going to drive back to you. And oh, by the way, the output in terms of the rankings from these links is going to be 100 times better. So for us, B2B, it's guest posting, very high authority guest posting. It's like resource pages and roundups. And then the final one is podcasts. That's all we really want to focus on. And like 80% of it is actually through guest posting. It's just the easiest still thing to do. It's just not focusing, again, at the agency level, we're looking at guest posts in mass at scale, just as a numbers game, versus if the client is doing it, we can coach them on how to get getting featured on Moz is not hard. Anybody in this chat can get featured on Moz. You just don't do it probably because you don't have the time to do it, because it takes time to do that. But if we have somebody who's dedicated to, and we're coaching them and we're training them on how to do that, they can do it. It's very easy. It's not hard at all. So Charlene, for context, that's what we focus on. But again, that's for our type of customer and our type of client. You just have to reverse engineer what are the best link types available for your target client there. Raf asked, how do you convince a news website blog to mention you or your client on your website? Do you agree to a fee? So that's part of it too, Raf, right? Is understanding the link types available and then coming up with the pitch. Everything in link building is about the exchange of value, just like business, right? So when it comes to link building, you can't just email a website and be like, hey, my name is Ryan, I run a company, I want to get feature me on your website. They're gonna be like, go F yourself, dude. Like, no. But if I come to them with the right value proposition, and that comes from me understanding who's on the other side of that, just like me talking about who's on the other side of your client relationship here. For example, one of the things that I offer to people all the time is that, if you feature my post on here, then I will share the post from my Twitter. I have 10,000 plus followers. To my email list, I have 50,000 people on there. Again, this is depending on the size of that, so I can taper up or down my value proposition, right? So in order for me to get them to take some sort of action, they're going to look for some sort of reciprocal or greater action in order for me to do that. It's all about the exchange of value. It's just about understanding what that exchange of value is. And this this is the crux of this whole thing, right? Is that we are the experts here. This is our responsibility to know this. I mean, you shouldn't be selling anything to clients if you're not the true expert of it. It's just irresponsible, and this is it as well. But you know how to do link building. It's not hard. I mean, we teach it in the Blueprint training. If you don't know how, go buy it. You'll get a $50,000 skill for less than $5,000. So it's all about the exchange of value and what's in it for you. Or in the exchange of value too, Raf, to your point, can just be money. Sometimes people are like, yeah, send me $300. Like, cool, done. I'll send you $300 as long as it's a good link opportunity. That's part of the things that we'll be able to coach and work with on these clients as well. Because as they're getting these responses back, we can review these responses back and train them in real time. Right? There's a tremendous amount of value in that. And the other whole part of this conversation too is that when you're working on this type of model, guys, it's not just about ROI. It's not just about number of links. It's about different types of value that you can provide to people, right? That in itself, being able to help them train and bring this internally is a tremendous amount of value that doesn't really get accounted for in the cost, right? Versus when you're outsourcing something completely, you have no value, there's no equity, there's no internal IP. You're taking something that should be knowledge internally and you're giving that to somebody else to handle, and they are never going to do what's best for the business. It's just what it is, right? That's just the nature of agencies. I own an agency, and I'll tell you that firsthand, that I will never hire an agency. I'm always going to want to bring it in-house and do it internally, because I want somebody who knows my business. I want somebody who's dedicated to my business, and I'm willing to spend my time and my resources to train that person and bring that equity internally. What's next? Eyeballs, attention, marketing, right? That's where we come into play, and that's where we can really sell them hard. So Charlene had a follow-up, also re-podcasts. Are there services out there that will place you and your client on? No, we do it all ourselves. We just build a list of podcasts, we send them a pitch. Easy. Chris got that Blueprint membership. That's what's up. Thank you, brother. Philip asked, have you tried this with clients already? If so, what was their feedback? We're just rolling it out now. Like I said, I like to do, maybe you missed the beginning of this, where I was talking about how, one of the benefits of being in our ecosystem is that I'm always going to tell you what we're doing in a given moment, right? That's probably one of the biggest benefits of joining the Blueprint training, especially the Blueprint Platinum, is that, I just had a 2-hour-long coaching call with 2 Platinum members where we talked about, I was talking to them about the things that we worked on 2 hours before with my team. I can't really roll that into training. I can't roll that into content. That needs to be done on a one-on-one basis. So that's one of the good things about being here. We're rolling this out now. I'm going to continuously keep you guys posted on how this is going, but I'm just telling you right now that, Caleb's in here right now, and he'll tell you, he's our sales guy, that there's 4 or 5 proposals that are waiting on this, and they've already committed to it ahead of time. And it's not just for link building. It's really kind of like overall coaching, consulting for the business, integrating into helping them. Like, link building is a very, 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 very small facet. SEO is a very, very, very small facet of what we do and what we want to do. So we're rolling it out now. And again, one of the benefits of being in Platinum is that I'm continuously coaching people on what we're doing, because our revenue is growing every month. And it's not because we're doing the same thing. It's because I'm constantly making adjustments to our process, to our offer, to our service, to our team. So again, if you haven't joined the Blueprint yet, this is your wake-up call to do so. Morrow asked, will this new coach linking building, I'm so dyslexic, guys, I'm sorry. Will this new coach link building be introduced in the Blueprint training? Yeah, Platinum only though. Again, this is why. What's up, Colin? Just spoke to Colin. He's a Platinum member. Simon asked, what would be your approximate cost for your agency for doing the service end, just for context? Like I said, we're looking right now, and again, this is part of like the sales conversations that we're constantly testing out. I'm a big proponent of this type of model because it's not attached to a certain number of, it's not attached to an output. It's not attached to a certain number of links. So we're able to adjust pricing based on the value, right? When we talk about value-based pricing, this is what we're talking about. I know you hear about it a lot, but people don't really explain it well. They're just like, yeah, charge on whatever impact you're going to have. It's like, that's very vague and ambiguous. This is a perfect example of how we can charge as much for this as we want, depending on what they're going to be willing to pay, but it's based on the pain of the problem that they're having, right? So right now we're starting with a $3,000 like setup fee, which would be access to like templates, onboarding calls, working with a team, and then we're shooting for $1,500 a month as a consulting retainer to work with the person that we'd be training, and that's unlimited coaching. So however many times they want they want to meet, email us, whatever, to look at like their pitches, look at all the stuff, we'll be there for them. And again, it sounds like a lot. It sounds like it's overwhelming, but I'm telling you right now, we're running this at the Blueprint Platinum. When you're able to provide valuable information to people and help them, they don't take you up on it as much as you would think, right? It's kind of a weird thing, but for the most part, it doesn't take as much man hours as you would think to deliver consulting and coaching when you know what you're doing and when you have the proper structure, the proper organization, the proper processes. It's by far the best business model out there, just letting you all know. Column asked, you said you will charge $1,500 per month. Will this give them a finite? I just answered that. No, there's no hours. Again, we're getting off of that. We don't want to talk about that. This is as little or as much as they need. And again, it's kind of more up to them for how much they need. We're giving them access to everything that they need, and then we're here for them to help them work through everything else. So Rafi asked, I can see this working for medium to large size businesses, but how about for local SMBs? I answered this in the beginning. We don't work with them for one of these reasons. And this is something that I work hard with people on Platinum in, is that I want to break you from your comfort zone of working with small businesses, because you're never going to grow past a certain point. You can make it to $10 million working with small businesses, I'm not going to lie, but the amount of friction, imagine how many clients you have to work with to get there. So if you're here watching this and you only work with small businesses, you might not be able to get this work for small businesses. But then again, go back to yourself and ask yourself, is the service that you're delivering, is it what's best for them? If the answer is no, then you need to start thinking about how you can level up your service and get to the next level. And this is one of those things. Sometimes it's really just a matter of targeting different businesses with your marketing, with your offer. We do it at Weber's. Literally offering sprint models now. We're rolling out a whole new offer for B2B growth. And by just drawing a line in the sand and saying we're not going to work with anyone who does not have an internal marketing person is like the first step. Like, you're not qualified to work with us. I'm sorry, I can refer you to someone who is, but like, we don't work with small businesses. So Rafi, I guess where I'm going with this is that if you're stuck in that situation where you're like, I can't roll this out to my clients, then you need to be thinking about how you can work with clients who you can roll it out to, because at the end of the day, we are in the business of servicing clients and doing what's best for them. And if you're using PBN links and stuff like that, look, I'm not a judgmental person. I'll never, be like, oh, don't do that, that's bad. But like, it's irresponsible. Like, imagine if you hire someone, you're paying them a couple $1,000 a month, and you find out that they're just using PBN links. I mean, maybe you think about it differently, but like, I would walk through the computer screen and kick your teeth down your throat if you were doing that to my business. It's irresponsible. It's unethical. It's not cool. Don't fuck with people's businesses like that. That's my opinion on it. And people kind of clap back at me all the time about PBNs and that they work and this and that. That's cool. But I think you'd be the first to admit if that somebody is doing something that they know could potentially hurt a website, then you don't have a business, you have a hustle. So I just went way off topic there, Rafi. I apologize. And I know where you were going with that question, but again, just to summarize again, this model probably won't work for small businesses. Small businesses want everything done for them. They just be like, hey, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to hear about it. Just get me to where I need to be. And that in itself is a challenge, because you can also only charge them so much. So in my opinion, if you want me to do everything, I'm going to charge you the ceiling, because it's going to take a lot of effort to do that. But again, working through these different business models, these different scenarios where we intimately understand who's on the other end of these things, and by changing our targeting, changing our positioning, changing our offer, we can continuously work this offer to what's worked for them. So again, that was a bit of a tangent, got a little bit aggressive there. Take a deep breath. But let me know if that helped, Rafi. Cool. Actually, Ciaran, I'm terrible pronouncing, said, with my experience of handling 100 plus local clients at our agency, is that link building is the last thing we work on. Perfect. I love that response. And most clients won't get on board with the type of links I want to get them, podcasts, etc. I love that too. I agree. I think that that's a great response, Ciaran. We actually ended up here because we deprioritized link building from the beginning. We kept on saying to ourselves, we don't want it, like, links are important, but like, how can we work with websites that don't need links? That was kind of the first step. It's like, we really want to partner with websites that don't need us to build 100 links for them, because if that's the case, then we just want to refer them to a PR company, because it's irresponsible of us to take a new website or a website with no authority and just hammer it with, non-organic links, if you will. So I think that's kind of a good first step is instead of saying, how can I offer this model? It's saying, how can I get results for clients potentially by reducing my need on links? That's probably the first step. Much better response, Ciaran. Should have had you up here. Caleb, who's our lead at business development at Weber, said, as soon as you mentioned the option for these companies to build this process, they internally have been jumping on the opportunity. Exactly what I said. The offer is crushing it for us so far, and we will continue to keep you abreast with how it's going. Yes, Charlene, exactly. So Charlene said, interesting. So in a nutshell, you take Blueprint processes and teach them to in-house teams. In a sense, I mean, everything in the Blueprint is geared towards agencies. We've worked really, really hard to get our content specifically for agencies, but essentially, yes. You know, again, I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but in terms of vertically aligning our businesses, everything that I work on at the Blueprint, this was kind of like a big epiphany for me. It was like, why are we working with e-commerce websites when I'm spending 95% of my time helping agencies who are B2B improve their offers, improve their service, and then also more specifically generate leads for marketing? Like, why don't I just work the same system that I know works for agencies, which is probably the hardest space to generate leads for, because it's so saturated, and take this same process and roll this out, you know, as a dedicated service to the client. So yeah, exactly. I mean, we're moving much more again towards again, when I look at the core of what I do best and what my team does best, it's this is all this is a B2B strategy that I'm doing right now. Like live video, you're not going to do this for e-commerce unless you're doing like unboxings or something. You're going to get on there, got to get on a live video in a Facebook group that we've spent thousands of dollars building this Facebook group to get everyone in here, to get it active, to get it engaged. This is a B2B lead generation tactic. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm here providing value because I want to sell you on something, you know, but I'm doing it through the guise of creation. We're just very good at it. You know, so while we do provide value through free content, we also provide 100x value through our paid programs. So I'm intimately familiar with how to do this. I know it like the back of my hand. So why would we be doing anything else? You know, so essentially, Charlene, yes, like we're taking a lot of what we have in Blueprint and we're adjusting it from agencies to a little bit more broad B2B, but a lot of it still applies. There's obviously nuances to agencies, but you know, B2B marketing is very, very similar. So that's ultimately what we want to roll out. Et cetera, et cetera. Garth says, you're 100% right, man. I appreciate you, brother. Rafi says, no, good. I hope you didn't think I was getting too aggressive, Rafi. I just, you know, sometimes I get a little bit fired up when these topics come up, because the amount of vile hate that I get from people who like use PBNs is absurd. You know, it's kind of like, you know, people clinging to a ship that's been going down for years now. You know, and I'm just always under the impression of like, why build a business around something that you know is unethical? You know, it's just not for me. Charlene says, I'm actually moving away from working with small businesses, too much of a pain in the ass. And like Ryan said, they want a total done for you service. If you don't have an internal marketing team and a writer, I'm not working with you. Love it, Charlene. Draw a line in that damn sand, right? Let me see what else we got. Any more questions, y'all? Any more comments? Anything else you guys want to rap about? This was awesome. I really enjoyed this one. Drop me some comments if you want us to do these more often. I would love to get some other Blueprint team members involved. Ezekiel asked, when I hop on board with Blueprint, will my beard grow like yours? Yes. You will get very special beard oil sent directly to you. I actually need to trim it, man. I'm in Miami where the humidity is out of control already, and it's like wearing a jacket on my face. But yeah, you will get the magic beard oil, whatever you want, man. You become a Blueprint member, I'll do whatever you want. I'm here to serve. Anything else, y'all? Drop it now or forever hold your peace. Cool. Okay. Awesome. So just finally, just kind of tie a bow on this. You know, again, it's at the end of the day, it's always about our clients. What's best for them? How can we better service them? And at the same time, how can we do that by making our lives easier? And a lot of people think that they are mutually exclusive, meaning what's best for the client is not what's best for your business, and that's because you've been taught wrong. We need to break that mindset. That's another great reason to join Platinum, is because we spend so much time breaking down limiting beliefs, if you will, that were taught by people who might be pretty good at SEO but have never run a real multi-million-dollar business before. So this is the type of stuff and the attention that you get working with us here at the Blueprint. It's so much more than just marketing and building an agency. It's how to become a leader. It's how to step in to your role in building a team, and building a company that you're proud of, and building a company that people want to work with, and that, all the above. Let me see if there's any more questions real quick. Quick question from Rafi. How do you go about creating an SOP for something like this? Do you onboard these clients into a pre-built training? Yeah, I mean, you always want to be careful this, because you don't want to sell people into training. It's very similar to Platinum. I'll tell you what we do at Blueprint Platinum. What we do at Blueprint Platinum is we have a framework, right? So we know exactly, based on where you are in terms of your agency's current client base, in terms of your current revenue, we know exactly how to get you to the next level. And what we do is we spend a lot of time asking you questions and getting to know you to understand where you're at and any potential roadblocks that are just keeping you, like low-hanging fruit that are keeping you from there. So we'll have an initial onboarding call. We'll get to know you, all your problems, exactly where you're at. A lot of the times they hold the answer to their problems as well. It's just a matter of guiding them in the right direction. But then what we'll do is we have pre-recorded videos for concepts that, like positioning and offer design. I'll send you to, after we have our initial call, I'll be like, hey, look at, this is kind of going to be your project growth plan, if you will, right? Like, we'll meet as much as you want, but where I want you to start based on what you told me is I want you to go watch this video. There's a worksheet in there, fill it out, and then book another coaching call and we'll talk about it, right? So we're guiding them down the path. So it's consulting, but there's also videos that will help them to speed things up. So that way, when they show up to coaching calls, we don't have to teach them on concepts. It's something that they can watch and learn on their own time, and then they show up ready to talk about their business. So it's the same thing, right? You can record a video that talks about, prospecting and how to find these websites. So that way you don't have to teach them live, and you just tell them, we have a 20-minute video, watch this, and then, go prospect for 10 websites, and then we'll talk about it on a coaching call, and we'll review what you came up with, and we'll correct it, and then, you're good on that. And then after that, then go watch a video on outreach. That video is going to tell you, about the templates. It's going to tell you how to edit them. It's going to talk about value propositions, and then write 3 templates and then bring those for our next coaching call. We're going to talk about those, right? So we're guiding them. We have the framework pre-built, and we've got some pre-recorded stuff, some templates for them. That's pretty much it. We'll just kind of guide them through. It's actually a lot easier than you might think. It's something that you can build on the fly. Philip asked, if you can't offer this right now due to the size of clients you work with, do you still recommend outsourcing link building? Yeah, I do, unfortunately. Either that, or again, why positioning is so important, because if you're working with the same type of client over and over again, you might be able to build a database or a process to do link building, because it's all the same type of client. But otherwise, outsource it, find a partner who can deliver it for you. Link building is a pain in the ass. And also I would also say your first step would be looking to work with clients whose campaigns success does not flow through links directly, right? Meaning clients that have momentum, clients that don't just need a bunch of links to rank. Just stay away from those. If you're not a link building agency, it's not a good target. Charlene says, who's your target market for Platinum? Agency owners with revenue? No, actually not, Charlene. I mean, anyone. Obviously Platinum is more expensive. It's a total investment of $15,000. It's payable over 4 months, so about $4,000 a month, a little bit less. But again, we work with agencies of all. So we have agencies in there that will come in with 0 clients, and we have agencies in there who are doing $5 million and up. So because we have that framework, that 3-part framework: positioning and offer design, productization, and then marketing. Basically, what we say is we'll just start you at a different point. If you come in doing $5 million a year, I know how to add value. Adding value is going to be building you a marketing, pipeline. Exactly what we do here. Content, advertising, communities, all this stuff will help you build that out. But if you're doing, less than $20,000 a month, then we'll start by looking at your position and helping you get that dialed in, and then helping you get your offer dialed in. And then we'll graduate you to, okay, now that we've got your offer and your position dialed in, now let's talk about your service. Let's look at your project plan. Let's strip this down. Let's turn this into a process. Here's some videos on how to productize this. Let's go do that and come back and let's talk about it. Like literally with Colin today was his first call, and we spent most of the call talking about his process. And I was talking about how things that he didn't need to do because of who he's targeting. He's working with dentists, and I was telling him that you don't need to do certain things because they don't care about it. So we'll work with you on all that, and then eventually get you to the point where you're building your own content, you're marketing it, and we've got Facebook ads coach. We got everything you need to help you get all that stuff done. So Charlene, to answer your question succinctly, it's really if you're willing to make the investment, then we're willing to work with you, and I know that we can get you to where you want to be. CRN says, I'm a Blueprint member, and it's the only course I brag about. It's no joke. Went from working at an agency with no SOPs to starting my own. Point being, I knew my SEO. Basically, he's saying we're amazing. I appreciate that, CRN. It means a lot. We work really hard to get to deliver what we do. Matt says, what tools do you recommend for the outreach for them? We just use Gmail, canned responses, but we're actually working on a partnership now with Pitchbox. they actually saw my email go out today for this, and probably working Pitchbox in the process, because we are working with clients that can afford to pay them. So Pitchbox is probably my favorite, but there's a couple other good outreach tools as well. But honestly, the process is what they're paying us for. To me, tools are a matter of opinion or budget, whatever you can afford to pay for. Tools are only good when you have a process to automate. Tools do you nothing if you don't have a process. So that's my thoughts. So Charlene said, would you recommend going through Blueprint first, then Platinum? It's really about how fast you want to move, Charlene. As a Platinum member, you get access to the Blueprint. The good thing about Platinum is that will help you architect everything. The thing about the Blueprint training is that it's self-service. You got to go through and figure it out on your own. Obviously, you have the community for help, but I know exactly what I'm doing. I just, with a few conversations with you, I can help you get to where you want to be. So it's completely up to you. That's it, y'all. I do have to jump. I have something else I got to get onto. Appreciate all your time, all your attention. I'm going to repost this here in Facebook, and then also repost it on the Blueprint YouTube channel. So you make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to rewatch this. And again, we'll do another one of these this week. I want to get, I think, Brendan Hufford on here to talk about some more SEO tactics. He's an incredibly talented marketer in SEO, and also one of our full-time coaches at the Blueprint. So hopefully we'll get him on here next week. And as always, if you guys need anything, drop it here, drop it in Slack. And we love you and appreciate you all. Take care, y'all.